Hey everyone, you ready for another deep dive? This time you guys sent in something really, I don't know, meta, like it's got me curious. So it's this chapter, right, called What's the Matter with Books? And here's the thing. It's in a physical book, like a real hold it in your hands book. But get this, it's arguing that digital technology is making books, well, obsolete. Kind of ironic, don't you think? Lucky for us, we've got, well, someone who can help us unpack all this.
It's funny you should say that because this death of the book idea, it pops up all the time. And yeah, usually in books themselves, it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy or something.
Right. So, are we trying to figure out if they're right, if books are doomed, or is this something else?
I think the real question is why this argument keeps coming up in this specific way. Like, what's with the book format?
Okay, so we're analyzing the analysis. I'm into it. But how do we even start with that?
Well, the chapter, it dives into this whole world of signs, like how a word, an image, even an object can stand for something beyond itself. It's semiotics, but don't worry, we'll keep it simple.
Oh, I've totally been there. Like when you
Yeah.
look up a word in the dictionary and the definition uses another word you don't know, so you have to look that up, and it's just definitions all the way down.
Exactly. It's signs pointing to other signs, creating this whole web of meaning. And the chapter, it uses the dictionary as an example of that.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets interesting. It also argues that digital tech, especially hypertext, like what we use online, kind of messes with that whole sign thing.
Hold on. So is this book like arguing with itself then? How does that even work?
Let's dig into that a bit deeper in the next part.
So digital tech, like all that hypertext stuff online, that's messing with how signs work. Does that mean the dictionary example is like out the window now?
Not really, no. It's more like hypertext, with how it links everything together instantly. It shows us just how limited that old sign system really is. We're so used to books, to turning pages, going in order.
I'm starting to see it. It's like a physical dictionary takes you on this whole journey, one word leading to the next,
Mhm.
but online. You just click, 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 information overload.
You got it. And because of that instant access, the book argues that the physical book, it might be even more important than we think.
So it's not just the words, it's the whole experience. Holding the book, the smell even, turning the pages, the whole thing.
Right. And they bring up this really cool example, Neuromancer by William Gibson.
Cyberpunk, right. I think I've heard of it.
Yeah, and it's actually where we get the word cyberspace from. Like, that book made it a thing.
Wait, hold on. Gibson wrote about cyberspace before it was a thing.
Yeah.
Then his book, like, made it happen.
Exactly. Even though it was just a regular book written on a typewriter of all things, the ideas in it, they had this huge impact. It makes you think, what else is out there, hidden in books, just waiting to change the world?
Wow, that's wild. So we need to look at how we talk about technology, not just the tech itself. And the format matters, whether it's a book, a blog, whatever.
Now you're getting it. The chapter, it even compares this whole thing to Socrates way back when.
Socrates,
Mhm.
like the ancient Greek philosopher guy.
That's the one. He actually hated writing things down. He thought real understanding came from talking, debating, challenging each other. He wasn't just observing the world, he wanted to know how we talked about it.
And that connects to how we deal with technology now.
Think about it. Nowadays, most of our big conversations happen online. Social media, forums. It's like Socrates' public square, but digital. We debate about tech all the time, but are we really thinking about it? About how the platform itself might be shaping our views?
That's a good point. We're so busy arguing about the latest phone or whatever, we don't stop to think, hey, is this app actually making me think this way?
Exactly. And that brings us to what I think is the most important part of this whole chapter. It's calling for a new way of analyzing things.
So it's like being aware,
Right.
right? Not just blindly accepting how things are presented to us.
Yeah, exactly. We can't just take things at face value anymore. It's about being a smart consumer, thinking about the packaging, not just what's inside, no matter what we're consuming, whether it's, tech news or whatever.
It's true. A news story on Twitter just hits different than reading it in, like, an actual newspaper,
Yeah.
even if it's the same words.
Totally. The how, the where, it all matters. And, it's funny, we've been doing this whole deep dive, really getting into it, but this chapter itself, it's almost a contradiction, isn't it?
How so?
Well, it's arguing about the end of print, but it's doing it as a printed book. Like we said, super meta.
Totally. But here's the thing that's really got me thinking. If the way we talk about technology really shapes how we think about it, what does that mean going forward? I mean, everything's social media, memes, TikTok.
That's the big question, isn't it? Everything's designed to grab your attention, to get a reaction, but does that make us understand things better,
What's
just
that?
differently.
It's like this chapter, What's the Matter with Books? It's almost like a warning from the past. Don't just focus on the shiny new tech. Think about how it's changing how you think, you know?
And how we communicate. How we talk about the world changes the world we're talking about. It's all connected.
Wow. Okay, yeah, that's going to stay with me for a while. Listeners, I hope this deep dive has given you a lot to think about, too. Until next time.